Thanks very much to IPEVO for sending this out for review. This is the P2V Ultra, and this is the full pack, meaning you get a camera clip, a second camera clip, wow, and a stand. And IPEVO have sent this out for review, and this video isn't sponsored, but it is important to note that I have and am going to work again on sponsored content with IPEVO. However, it's also important to note that IPEVO, before I started working with them, are the most popular visualizer brand in this country, and for good reason, because they are inexpensive solutions to education problems such as distance learning, which is when I started working closely with them during the pandemic, but is also a solution for some of our school refusers today. The earlier version of this, if you like, or still on sale, in fact, the V4K is possibly the most popular visualizer and is in most classrooms around the country. In our school, we have an IPEVO visualizer in every single classroom. And me as a science teacher, I'm particularly interested in this one because it's going to allow you to change the view and to actually point it, it says point to view, at the thing that you're wanting to show. So for me doing demonstrations at the front, I'll be able to show that very quickly and easily from the board, and then I'll be able to click it back onto this stand and it act like a normal visualizer to show my modeling, or indeed I can click it onto this clamp and that can go on the screen in front of me and be a normal webcam as well. And it will be, I'm certain, better quality than the one that I have in my laptop. There we are, you plug it in and you point it and you view. They are very easy to use solutions. And well, you've been watching me unbox this underneath a camera that cost about £5,000 when I bought it. Don't worry, my wife knows. They're robust as well. And it has a magnet on either side. And so you can see how easy it's going to be just to tilt it down. And the stands just have little thumb screws to tighten them up. Cable tidy there. Plug that in and I'll switch to that camera. And we'll have a good look at a couple of things that I'm working on at the moment and see how good of a macro shot that I can get out of this thing. One last thing, getting this full pack. Oh, that's cool. So that's a little clip that could clip to literally anything. Most likely the top of a monitor like that. And then there's another little stand. So essentially you've got the choice of the magnetic monitor top or the one with an ordinary tripod screw thread, which is great. It's got a tripod screw thread, gives you that versatility as well. And much of the time when I'm using my IPEVO visualizer, I just use the ordinary built-in Windows camera app and it works perfectly fine. But in fact, just the other day, I found that my brand new laptop doesn't actually have the built-in camera app installed, and so I had to switch to the IPEVO app, but that wasn't installed either. But there is the IPEVO web app, which just automatically can detect a camera and show you a visualizer software directly in the browser. You can just run that here within the browser, and there you go. I could just full screen that on my board at the front, and hey presto, you've got visualizer software without having to download or install anything. I mean, that's just the type of thing they do, really nice solutions like that. So what else have we got? We've got a microphone, and you've got the AI switching microphone mode as well, and a mute switch, that's cool. And on top, there's an autofocus mode and a snapshot mode button as well. So this is the focus button, and this is the snapshot button, which I guess if I was set up to be using that, it would work. Within the web app, you've got quite limited resolutions though, but you can record directly here in the web app, and I'm guessing it's going to simply save that to a location in my temporary files and let me download it maybe afterwards. Let's have a look. Download started. There it is, and it's downloaded as a WebM, so you know, an easily shareable video file. Normally, as I say, I just use the Windows camera app, and now I've got the options all the way up to the 4K, as you'd expect, at 30 frames per second. Now, it is a small sensitive camera, and I can see it's quite noisy, again, when you compare it to the cameras that I am working with here. So for instance, if I want to show this new tablet, I would suggest that an IPEVO visualizer like this one is a really inexpensive way that you could actually get into doing something like what I do here on YouTube. That looks good enough. Compare that to the very expensive Canon R5, certainly there's not going to be any competition there, but this is a massive sensor. And the complexity of hooking that into my computer via a capture card is very challenging. It also isn't going into the computer, incidentally, at 4K. But this particular visualizer is the one that you should buy if you need to do this. Get it really close and personal with what you're showing. If you do want to handhold the P2V, then you really do need to look at a different microphone solution though, because you can hear that sound as my hands are moving around on the actual camera. You can really see the texture of the screen there, can't you? Sure, it isn't quite a USB microscope. It's totally misbehaving, isn't it? That's impressive. I can certainly see this being useful in my classroom. You can really see the matrix of the screen there, and you can see the texture of the surface really nicely as well. That's good. I think actually, honestly, this might have a place on my desk for testing out and using in live streams really. Okay, let's compare that to the Remarkable 2, which it's not like I'm just picking on Remarkable 2, but you know, this is often being compared to the Boox Go 10.3. But this is the older e-ink screen with 227 ppi. And yeah, you can really start to see that here. Their new font. And they know the things that matter. That's the mechanical pencil. The ballpoint is what I normally write in. Let's have a little switch to the IPEVO software. The full desktop IPEVO software. As here you do get the full range of resolutions, including different aspect ratios, because it is a 4K sensor, but it's actually larger than 4K if you use the square aspect ratio. But then you don't get the full 30 frames per second, I seem to recall. And you can do things like time lapse and etc. as well. No, I haven't been able to select the frame rates. And you can do picture in picture with other cameras. Quite clever, isn't it, really? Okay, so there we are now recording in the IPEVO visualizer. And yeah, you can see that the frame rate isn't as good here on the IPEVO recording app, but it is giving me full control over things like the camera focus. You can see this in a lot of different use cases if you just need to change and reframe your view, and especially if you need to show something close up for teaching. Something I'm working on at the minute is a review of this little XPi board, which is from Geniatech, and so you could come in here and you could get quite close to the thing, just as you can any other IPEVO visualizer. You've got really good control over exactly which way it's facing. Then you can also take it off and get in really close, read all the markings, see all the circuitry, and explain exactly what was going on here. What a useful and versatile camera. So let me know how you might use this type of device. I'll be back once I've used this at school, and I'll let you know what I think about it.